Shurick, just starting with you about Xsolla and what you're doing in the metaverse space. Well, I mean, talk to me a little bit about your vision for it. What exactly is the vision when it comes to Xsolla and what you're trying to do in this ecosystem?
Thank you for having me. So Xsolla is a company who create a solution for video game commerce. If you play in Fortnite or Roblox, you might find my company name on your credit card bill. I believe the metaverse it's a form of the future internet, and it's going to be built with video games technology on the front end and maybe blockchain technology on the back end. And it's not just the virtual environments. It's like in a real life, we have spaces, stuff, and people. So in the virtual worlds, we already have that. But in the metaverse, we're going to have the virtual environment, virtual items, and characters. In other words, the future of the internet, what excites me the most is not the Web3, it's a Web 3D.
And Jayesh, I think what ROSHN is doing in this space is quite exciting. You're incorporating property sales with the metaverse in Saudi Arabia. Talk to me a little bit about how that is working out. What are you envisioning here?
So thanks for having me here today, Abeer. What we have built in ROSHN today essentially is a complete end-to-end sales platform that we have today, right? And to our surprise, we've seen people actually buy homes online. And this is a behavioral change. And that's a non-immersive experience. And today we're looking in adding the immersive experience because what we sell are homes that are off-plan. Visualizing them is very difficult. Today, all you see is 2D drawings. You see spaces that are 4 meters by 4 meters, but it's very hard to imagine for an end user. So bringing the metaverse onto that gives people a full immersive experience in terms of what the walkthroughs of the communities are going to be looking like from the outside and inside the homes as well. But incorporating that with the sales journey that we've kind of built will allow people not only to render the space, understand the space that they are going to be purchasing, but also to be able to customize them. You don't like certain furnishing, you want to kind of change the floor tiles, for an example. You have all of these options within the metaverse. And being able to check that out and finish your sales journey and actually be a property owner. So that's one of the first use cases that we are looking into, but we're also looking into mini apps within the metaverse, so bringing sporting events, football, tennis, and so on and so forth within the realm. And of course, we've got other use cases that are coming up to be able to do retail transactions and stuff like that, and also customer service within the realm of metaverse.
Okay, and sticking with you, first of all, I want to know when this product would come to market and when you'll see yourself start to sell property based on people seeing it in the metaverse.
So we hope to launch later this year the first MVP of the platform, and likely towards the end of the year or maybe early next year, we'll start transacting onto the platform. But nonetheless, our current digital platform already allows that to happen. So you can actually buy a ROSHN home completely end-to-end on the platform.
And sure, coming back to you, and I guess, a follow-up to you as well, Jayesh, but when it comes to resources and investment and money allocation, does it feel like the metaverse has taken sort of a backseat to generative AI since ChatGPT came to market?
In my opinion, yes, definitely. And the reason being is because of the popularity and the ease of use of generative AI. It's more consumer-driven. There's a lot more interest from the public. There's a lot more interest from the investors. You see a lot more startups being born that are focusing on generative AI. But nonetheless, the metaverse is still very dominant. It's going to be there from a long-term perspective, but from a short-term perspective, yes, generative AI is definitely taking the lead for now.
Shurick.
Imagine in the future you're working on this 3D websites, which is I call meta sites, and you can meet a non-player character. And because of the AI, those characters could be much more compelling when the, let's say, robot representative, what we today have over on the 800 number. So I believe in the future, brands going to have their brand representative, brand ambassadors in those virtual worlds, and AI is enabling that. And I believe that's going to be very compelling and deep connections, opportunity for the brands to connect with the audience.
Okay, and before we get to our next question, I just want to bring the poll question to the audience now. And the question is, what would you use the metaverse for? And you have 3 options there: create an alter ego, try out extreme sports, or travel the world without moving. So I'll allow the audience some time to sort of answer that question before we bring the answers and get back to you guys. But moving on with this conversation, Shurick, sticking with you, about the widespread adoption of the metaverse. A lot of applications feel like meetings with avatars right now. I certainly tried, using a VR headset to do an exercise class. It didn't go very well, but. I mean, companies that are now trying to be innovative with gaming and entertainment, such as yours, and you mentioned Roblox in the beginning, they seem to be having trouble finding new ways to grow their platforms. So where do you think is growth going to come from? And what is the tipping point for really widespread use of this tech and wider participation in the metaverse?
So today, metaverse companies, which is represented by Roblox and Fortnite, they actually, I call them virtual worlds, not the metaverse. The metaverse is the only one, it's like the internet. And the truly metaverse moment is going to happen when you can walk through the portal from the Roblox to the Fortnite, carry some of the items with you, and that's similar like a hyperlink, and it's going to be internet of the future.
Yeah.
Jayesh?
So I think I go back in history, right? So if you look at, a movie back in 1985, Back to the Future 2, you started seeing characters wearing virtual reality glasses, right? And here we are today, and that was supposed to be 2015. Cars flying, everybody's on the VR glasses, but nonetheless, 9 years later, we are still here today. You see Oculus, you see MetaQuest, you see Apple Vision as a product. People are using it, right? But you also see the generations of teenagers between the age of 12 and 18 who are on Roblox, who are on Fortnite. And given the fact that both are moving in parallel, so you're going to see improvements in terms of the form factor of these devices, which is going to get smaller, which is going to get faster, which is going to be more affordable, and you're going to get this generation who's been playing Fortnite, who's been playing Roblox, and the virtual world comes very naturally to them, and it feels very natural for them to be on the platform and to do things on the platform. So the intersection between the hardware and the platform coming in a couple of years or maybe the next decade is going to be a perfect intersection where the adoption is going to skyrocket. And that's in my opinion, because you have the demand, you have the devices, spatial computing is going to bring metaverse and the virtual worlds to a whole new experience. So you're going to get widespread adoption at the point of time.
I want to add, VR headset is just a subset of the metaverse, maybe tiny subset of the metaverse. The future of the metaverse, it's a connections between virtual worlds and the physical worlds. So you can easily imagine you can use digital items in the physical worlds. Think about like a coupon codes, or some loyalty points. It could be in the form of the digital items. So you can, everywhere you go right now, you're accepting the cookies. I can easily imagine in the future, every time you visit this website or location in a physical world, you can accept the token of the appreciation for your attention in the form of the digital items, which is going to unlock some benefits later on.
Right. And Jayesh, coming back to you about, something that you mentioned, and certainly what it feels like who's occupying this space right now. Your idea is, what ROSHN is doing with this space is quite, it's brand new. I certainly have never heard of, a company selling property, bringing in, what the property would be envisioned into the metaverse. We're based in the Middle East, you're based in Saudi Arabia, and we spoke about this a little bit backstage. When it comes to off-plan sales and incorporating the metaverse into this, into clients purchasing them, do you think the region is quite ready for this idea?
Absolutely, and I think if you look at Saudi Arabia, penetration of mobile phone usage is almost close to 100%. Right? The median age of the general population is at the age of 25 to 30 years old. So the adoption of technology is very high, and people in nature are very visual. People like visual aids. People like things that are more appealing to their eyes. So I think yes, the region is definitely ready.
Right. I just want to bring back the results for the poll question to see what the audience voted on. So create an alter ego got 13%, try out extreme sports 47%, travel the world without moving 40%. Jayesh, I think we need to add buy a property and see what the audience would vote on. But what do you make of these? What do you make of these results, Shurick? I'm interested in your thoughts.
Well, I am actually not surprised. Trying extreme sport or playing the action games, that's what video games for today. I think in the metaverse is going to be just much more engaging and connected.
Right. Coming back to our conversation about some problems that we've seen in the space lately, such as harassment and disinformation. I want to hear both of your thoughts about what you think can be done to mitigate those risks in the space. Shurick, starting with you, maybe?
I don't think the metaverse is radically different than the internet, and every regulations and rules what we currently have or we want to have in the internet is going to be applied for the metaverse. It's a moderation, parents control, and I think it's endless debate and about the rules and regulations.
And would you consider putting protections in place to again decrease the risk of such risks? What would those protections look like?
There's a complexity of the law, and when you have a multinational business, and metaverse, I hope is going to be multinational projects similar to the internet. So with laws which regulated today's internet activities and the rules of the platforms, and it's some of the people who are doing business on internet is complaining about laws and regulations and complexity of that. In the video games, what we learn is like, in addition to that, we also have the rules and terms and conditions of the platforms on the mega platforms, which is updating very often, and it's not consistent from Europe and the US. And Apple rules is changing like, I think twice a week now, and we monitoring that, and it's very important for the businesses and very critical for the businesses to do that.
Right. And Jayesh, when you started this idea in your company, did you look at those risks? Were there sort of, was there a strategy to sort of mitigate those risks from being applicable to your platform?
I think because our systems, the ideology behind what we want to build is slightly more closed. It's more ring fence, so there's slightly more better control in terms of who's on the platform or what they can do.
Right.
So we don't have widespread bigger problems like what would you face on a general metaverse on the net. So I think that's slightly of an advantage to us that we can control in terms of what we do on a platform perspective. And because because we're introducing a very different concept. But the idea behind that is to really ignite and accelerate the sales on the platform, right? Rather than being the social element of it, which will be probably slightly later once we bring the social element to that, and then that's probably we may need to learn from the industry in terms of what are the best practices to be applied before we enable those features.
Right. One of the things we're finding with the heavy new technologies such as the one we're talking about right now, like generative AI as well, and crypto, is the impact they're expected to have on energy use. Is this something that you're considering? Is this something you're looking at? Is this something you're actively trying to tackle? Jayesh, maybe starting with you.
Yeah, so for me, from a consumer end perspective, right, we work with the big technology providers out there. We work with the large hyperscalers out there who have the same agenda of providing green computing and providing energy efficient computing to customers like us, right? So working with the likes of Amazon, Google, and Microsoft as well. Who have their focus on providing really energy efficient. And of course, we look into hosting slightly closer to the region, so ensure that we can host it as close as within the country. And last but not least is also to ensure that the way we host our computing facilities are also based on schedule, based on containerization, where we can really eliminate waste on the cloud as well. So.
Yeah, Shurick.
I think all the technologies enabling the metaverse is already here. The scale and distribution of it, it's a critical for the metaverse success. The 5G technologies and graphical chips for the rendering photorealistic virtual worlds is not large enough to onboard the billions of users to the metaverse. But all the technology is here. The biggest challenge is going to be connectivity between the businesses and come up with the standards. How two businesses going to work together to become this new internet standards and carrying the items from one virtual world to another virtual world and many others challenges.
And I guess one more bonus question for the both of you, again, about regulation. We've seen a lot of, what's been happening around regulating the AI space. Do you think there should be more or less, or, current regulations on the metaverse space? Are they sufficient? What do you think, Shurick?
I believe regulation for the internet, it's very much applied for the regulation on the metaverse.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I think I concur on that it is required. We need to have proper regulations because you're looking at a generation that's going to come onto the platform, and you're going to have the same dilemma that you have today with the social networks. You're going to have problems in the metaverse as well. So.
All right. Well, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for the audience for answering the question. I really did enjoy this conversation about a space that I'm learning more about, but we're right on time. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.